The Boys in the Band, 2020. This story is set in the 60s, in 1968, a year before Stonewall, and it's a party in which a group of young men who are almost all of them are gay. There's one straight man who comes along, and there's also a perhaps straight passing men, passing, as in they can appear, um, not gay and sort of blend in with society. There's, um, there's a whole group of young lads. They're sort of, um, about 20 something. There's Jim Parsons as Michael, and he's the host, and his, um, he's organised a party for his friend Harold, who's played by Zachary Quinto. And um, Harold doesn't arrive straight away, but a lot of the others do, and they have lots of fun in like dancing. There's a whole range of different types of character, um, from ultra camp to um, fairly straight laced, and um, but the the atmosphere is chilled by the um, cis heteronormative expectations of that era. It's it's sort of like when there's like one what's his name? Emery, played by Robin de Jesus or Jesus, Robin de Jesus. He is he's very camp, and at one point the door is open and he makes a comment about, oh, someone's gone to the bakery. Oh, can you bring some hot cross buns? And a straight couple walk by outside and look very disapprovingly, and he looks almost he does look ashamed in a sense, and that's the heartbreak of this era. And it's almost like the kind of um, culture that's been brought back to certainly to the USA, but also to a large extent in the UK. The sort of things that you hear from right wing rhetoric, and things I've heard for many years, because I remember talking to the partner of someone I knew. I haven't met for some years ago, but this was like quite a few years ago, say the 90s, maybe the early noughties. And this partner wasn't exactly, I mean, he was tolerant of gay men, but his point was he didn't seem to like effeminate men. And the whole expression, I hate the expression effeminate and masculine and masculine. It's almost like both words have E, which means away from, and they both lead away from masculine. And it's almost like that's the default. It's in so much of English language, it's the default is masculine and male and patriarchy. Um, you'd think one of those two words would mean would be going the opposite direction, but they both mean the same thing. So there's um, there's a lot of frowning on um, the more um, queer men. I mean, queer being the expression that bell hooks used to describe uh, members of the LGBTQIA plus community who are going against the grain because society has all these expectations, and when people go against that grain, it's seen as lesser and it's marginalized, and that's the whole thing. And it's very similar with the trans community. In fact, it's probably even more strongly applied to the trans community because you can hardly, I mean, you can actually blend, you can actually fit in, you can, again, using that word pass, which is pretty awful, but it is used to describe fitting in perfectly in society so that people don't even notice um, you. And of course, if people don't notice you, you tend to be accepted. But if you are noticed, um, and you stand out in any way, you're nonconformist, that's seen as a problem. The flamboyance, it's all there's so much negativity. It seems to be building up again after perhaps more acceptance during the noughties and the 20 teens, 2010s. It seems like we are going very much backwards in our tolerance of LGBTQIA plus, and certainly the queer element. And those are the sort of things that struck me the most about this film. When there's this like Michael's the host, so he's like arranged this party, and there's a whole range of these guys who come along and they play this game, a telephone game where they it's kind of like a double or dare game. It's like they earn points for ringing up someone they truly love, and they get points if they actually speak to that person, and they get points also if they actually say that uh, they love that person. So, um it's almost like that was a huge barrier, and there was so much, it was so loaded against being able to do that. It was like that was, um, where the bravado comes in to actually to declare, your love for someone. It's heartbreaking. It should be the most natural thing. If you love someone, you should be able to, like, um, be unafraid to declare it to your friends, your family, to everyone. But um, with gay people, it's often disapproved of. Um, People, um, we have this thing at work with bring bring yourself to work. It became a theme during the last few years of my work, and it was so welcome because in my early years in work, um, people didn't tend to ask me much about uh, my life at home. Find out if I had a partner. Some people did ask, but it was usually in private. Um, Most people for the first 20-25 years of my working career didn't ask about my whole history. There's so much that was frowned upon, especially in the 90s and into the noughties, and it's only recent years that people have been able to talk more openly, and be their whole self, and that frees up ourselves, our spirits. And self-actualization includes being fully present, being able to be yourself. So, back 57 years ago, it was severely restricted, and um, the there was this, one member of the party who, comes along and he rings up Michael and says he's going to come along. He wants to come along, but then he sort of says he won't, and it's almost like, so he is he coming or isn't he? And Michael doesn't want him there because he's trying to throw this party for Henry. This is oh gosh, pronouns come up as well because like Emery's like uh, calling Henry she, and he calls a lot of the lads Mary and other names, and this whole thing that is very common in gay culture, and it's brilliant, I think. But when straight people hear it, certainly cis straight people just find it mind-boggling often. So, um, I, I thought it was a really fascinating film, and I'd really like to see the 1970 version of this film and the 1968 play that it's based on. Guess that won't be that. Uh, the 1970 film would be very interesting to see to compare with 2020 to see what's different because it has in the synopsis it says that there's um there's a modern twist to it, but it is being as it is set in the 60s, it really it has that sepia tinted feel to it. I mean, the photography, the cinematography is great. I mean, most of it is in one location in this apartment in New York, but you do see the outside and the early in the establishment shots as people um, join drive to this place. Um, so um, I'm going to score it 8.75 out of 10. I did enjoy it. I thought it was really fascinating. Would like to um, look into it some more. There was actually a kind of making of a sort of film about the whole process of the creation of this thing. It was about half an hour documentary about this. There was additional on Netflix after seeing this film. So my friend and I watched that as well. Brilliant. I thought that was really insightful as well. So I'd love to know what you think if you've seen this. Um, there were one or two, oh yeah, there were one or two things I didn't like. Michael, he's got some dodgy views as well. He's racist at one point. Um, now meeting the one of the in the documentary, there's the original author, and he actually said that he the characters were based on real life people, and he was part of it as well. Um, but sadly, he's died. But it's good that he provided this interview, so it's worth watching that as well if you get the chance. Um, so I'd love to know what you think. If you enjoy this review, please like. Thanks for subscribing if you do. Hit the notification bell and hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.